Hi, my name is Al, and today we will be discussing John Locke's theory of knowledge for Education 703. We're going to start off by discussing who John Locke was. John Locke was a philosopher from Oxford who was born in 1632. One of the most influential texts John Locke wrote was an essay concerning human understanding, which was published in 1689. In this text, Locke exposed the limits of human understanding in respect to a wide spectrum of topics. Locke did not only examine human knowledge, he also delved into the political realm in his essay, The Second Treatise of Government. Locke further examined human knowledge and education in Some Thoughts Concerning Education, which was published in 1684. Locke's work was controversial at the time. He held the development and education of children at a high stance. He believed this education was to be monitored and fostered by the child's parents. Locke stressed the importance of time spent by parents with their children. John Locke's background and cultural context, there are a lot of things that we have to take into consideration. First, prior to becoming a philosopher, John Locke was a physician. He worked closely with Thomas Sydenham, who focused on observing and comparing phenomena in groups of patients to develop cures that appealed to his common sense. These treatments usually did not align with principles of Galenical therapy. Researchers attribute Locke's method, where he utilized observation of properties to his work with Sydenham. This is evident in Locke's use of quotidian observations in an essay concerning human understanding. He utilized methods of quotidian observations to overcome uncertainty when he discussed several different aspects of knowledge. Locke also attended Oxford University between 1650 and 1660 and studied under Dr. Willis, who was young at the time. Commonalities in the works of Locke and Willis proved that they had intellectual interactions during Locke's time at Oxford University. At the time, several different theories of the mind existed. Galen believed that the human brain's function was to cleanse animal spirits. These animal spirits were absorbed by humans through air and transported to all the body through the four humors. Harvey, on the other hand, proved that blood was the main mode of transportation throughout the human body. Human blood acted as a transporter for the animal spirits, which directed them to the brain, where they were cleansed. Harvey believed these spirits were conscious and had wills of their own. These spirits led to changes in the mood of the human beings absorbing them. Prior to Willis, Descartes believed the soul was the main culprit for changes in mood and cognition. Descartes believed that the pineal gland housed the soul in the body. Descartes believed animal spirits were absorbed by the body through pores in the ventricles, which were then transported through the body through tubes, later known as nerves. On the other hand, Willis utilized necropsy and experimentation to establish his conclusions. Willis described different parts of the human brain in detail, such as the thalamus, corpus callosum, and basal gland. Willis attributed the transportation of animal spirits in the human body to the brain's white matter. Now, let's discuss John Locke's philosophy of education. Locke had two main assertions regarding the nature of clear knowledge. First, Locke believed that for a person to acquire clear knowledge, clear and distinct ideas should be present as building blocks. However, in other instances, Locke stated that clear knowledge can be obtained with obscure and confused ideas. Researchers view these two statements as contradictory. This contradiction drove Stillingfleet to question Locke regarding his opposing ideas. In his correspondence with Stillingfleet, Locke stated that this difference and contradiction is due to the distinction that Locke created between knowledge of existence and general propositions. Locke stated that general propositions required clear and distinct ideas, whereas knowledge of existence does not require them. Locke believed that knowledge regarding identity mandates the existence of clear ideas in the human brain. Moral knowledge is another type of knowledge that Locke believed required clear ideas. Locke also believed that mathematical and moral knowledge presuppose ideas that are adequate in the sense of representing mathematical and moral real essence. Locke believed that adequate clear ideas stem from experience. These experiences were then analyzed to form a belief. He used the same method to prove the existence of God. In this aspect, Locke demonstrated that the existence of an object can be confirmed solely from the function it serves, without any visual and materialistic proof of its existence. Locke stressed that to prove the existence of an object, it is not necessary to acquire clear ideas regarding the object. However, adequate ideas were still mandatory. Locke's thoughts regarding the topic of human knowledge were centered on mathematical knowledge. Locke described mathematical demonstrations as like diamonds, are hard as well as clear. Similarities exist between Locke's theory and that of Descartes due to the fact that they both based their knowledge on mathematics. Locke used intuition and thought interchangeably and offered little or to no distinction between the two terms. Locke believed that mathematics solely developed in a scientific manner. Locke was intrigued by the science of numbers and believed they were discrete in nature. Locke believed that the field of geometry created new methods to establish connections between ideas. He believed that other scientists were not capable of producing similar demonstrations that were concrete in nature. He utilized geometry's visible marks to recognize and demonstrate the characters of science. Locke believed general knowledge is combined with mathematical knowledge for humans to be capable of establishing links and relations between their ideas. He believed that mathematical certainty can be generalized to other regions, not only mathematics. He established a differentiation between physical and mathematical knowledge. He defined ideas as objects of thought. Locke was convinced that humans derive their knowledge from sensory experiences. He believed that new ideas can be formed by combining several ideas into one or more complex ideas. John Locke's books shaped the social philosophy of the age. John Locke's work led to the flow of money into the charity schools. Three main claims were made to establish a clear relationship between John Locke's work and the charity school movement. First, the discussion of the tabula rasa concept led investors and philanthropists to increase their investment in schools. Second, the concepts and guidelines outlined in some thoughts concerning education greatly changed instruction and curriculums in schools. Finally, John Locke's theory of knowledge and education, which he discussed in depth in an essay concerning human understanding, created a psychology of education that was used in schools to better understand how human knowledge is conceived. Now, when it comes to John Locke's perspective on diversity, John Locke discussed genders. So he discussed men and women. He believed women were weaker than men. However, when he did that, he was addressing their physical power and not their intellectual one. Locke attributed men's physical prowess as the reason men were in charge of the family. He attributed the decision-making in the household to men due to their physical strength. However, Locke stressed that men are not to use physical power to compel others to do their bidding. So as we can see, John Locke based his theories on math and on how to prove the existence of an object. He also attributed a lot of importance to the time that parents spent with their kids and how they educate them. He influenced education greatly over the course of history, but several of his ideas are no longer considered credible because they were based on facts such as animal spirits and him considering math to be the only science that developed as a science. Up next are references.